Welcome to Sib Spot. Today's featured Reddit stories are from MaliciousCompliance. Story 1 today is by Think Trouble 9616. You want to fire me? Oh yes, please. I don't know if this is MC enough, but I like this sub too much and I've never done anything remotely close before, so here it is. I joined a startup's AI team which consisted of just 3 people, including myself, with the other 2 being more senior. We spent about a year developing a product that was gaining traction with new clients. Then everything changed when our CEO decided that regular team-based sprints, basically once-a-day check-in, weren't effective enough. Instead, every team member had to become a head of a project, organizing, managing, and running separate daily scrums. Typically, each of us was assigned to 4 to 6 different scrums, completely destroying any sensible resource planning. This was the breaking point for the 2 senior members of my team who promptly decided to quit. I tried to stick it out, but the CEO started giving me crap all of a sudden. I believe he was holding a grudge because I once didn't answer a phone at 6:29 p.m. when work ended at 6:30 p.m. I called him at 7, but apparently that wasn't enough. After that, instead of talking to me directly, he would just speak to one of the seniors who hadn't yet announced his resignation, and that senior was supposed to relay that to me. But he was ready to quit and wasn't really that helpful. And with the work management going nuts, everything was just going to crap. I mean, engineering becomes crappy if you don't know the intentions, but he just kept giving me tasks without an explanation. So I had a one-on-one with the CEO and asked him to tell me what he wants directly. This suggestion set him off. He implied that this isn't working out, clearly suggesting my time with the company was coming to an end. Knowing what I knew about our code base being built in LangChain and runnables, notorious for their poor readability, and that, well, all the members are quitting, well, I liked the sub too much to let this go. About a week after receiving this message, the 2 seniors quit. That was about a year ago. I now saw them putting out a news article, first PR they've done since I left. Yep, the entire project that was developed for about a year gone and replaced with something completely new and generic. Can't say I'm not happy to see that product crumble. This boss didn't like that you weren't available to him 24/7. And so, since you didn't answer the phone a minute before closing time, that was the start of your downfall. You need to be available 24/7. There's some people in the world, and I'm sure you guys can think of a couple names, some that are really well known in the news unfortunately lately, that think the purpose of your life is to work and work and work. Opposite side of that is the people that think that you should be able to work and have a life. So, the CEO obviously wanted your life to revolve around work instead of your work to revolve around your life. You can probably guess which one I'm on the side of. Our next story is a longer one, and the reason that there's only 2 stories today. By Ancient Educator 76. Only teach what's on the test? No problemo. About 2 months ago, I worked for an absolute tyrant of an administrator. Dude was terrible. Terrible enough to warrant me writing in the apparent point of view of a 48-year-old teacher wishing he was Sigma. But I digress. Before working for this school, I was teaching 8th grade math, 4th grade math, or being an academic coach for the previous 18 or so years. I switched school primarily due to location. I found a school on the other side of the mountain I stare at nightly, so I figured it was a good match. Nope. This admin, we'll call him Poppin' Fresh, shut me down every step of the way. I entered the school middle of the school year with very rough kids, and my first day training the academic coach for the school and district trained us up on this math, ELA, anything you want gaming program called GimKit. I understand that GimKit isn't education in and of itself. It's simply a 5-minute tool to find out if kids know the content, and it engages the kids greatly. My first day with the students, I saw their terrible behaviors. They ran 2 other teachers out of there, evidently, so I decided it was going to take a little bit of grace to get them to listen to me. I showed them GimKit. They had popped open their Chromebooks for no more than 30 seconds when TA, terrible admin, Poppin' Fresh, came in and shut it down instantly. He never assesses the situation. He just sees kids on hokey-looking activities as he literally pops into the classroom, bouncing around like he's on something. Anyway, this happened all the time. I would instruct for no more than 8 minutes tops and walk around and help them with concepts the best I could. I would be walking around, he would pop in and tell me to change something, like clockwork. Every program or strategy or center-based activity I tried to use to get my 7th graders motivated gets shut down instantly, and he finally says out loud, "Teach only what's on the tests, nothing more. Bet." I took this as an opportunity to enter some malicious compliance with a side of, I can't believe I'm here. I started going by the book 100%. Anytime a student asks, why do we do it like this when we are working on surface area and volume, I only say, that's not on the test. Anytime I naturally find an urge to find connection to other standards, I stop myself. It's not on the test. Over a short amount of time, my students are frustrated and sitting there yawning. It pains me greatly, so I decide to only apply my malicious compliance when good old Poppin' Fresh pops his way back into my classroom. He finally pops in with his boss's boss, and a couple of people I've never seen before. I'd instantly switch from my going deeper, thinking outside the box, activity-based learning to exactly what he wants, teaching only what's on the test. I instantly turn into Ben Stein from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and the kids instantly groan, saying, "Mr. OP, I hate when you teach us like this." Comments from the students fly about the room. "This is the worst part of my day. I hate math now, thanks," and much more colorful, expletive-laden commentary. Frank Caliendo even popped in for a spell. Now here's a guy who doesn't know how to motivate his students. Boom. Poppin' Fresh even doubled down on his usual banter, putting on a show for his crew of bosses. "These kids seem highly unmotivated, OP. We need to meet about this if you can't get them engaged." I interjected. "You said to only teach what's on the test, so that's what I'm doing. Only what's on the test, right? Like if they wanted to know why this happens or that happens or how to solve this in a different way, that's not on the test, right? You told me just to be up and be teaching and never have them on their Chromebooks, right?" I said this to him in definite earshot of his accompanying party, mainly because I had a feeling these were the head honchos, the ones who signed off on spending all that money to make our school a true one-to-one school. A school where every student has a Chromebook. Not utilizing the Chromebooks is something I knew that Poppin' Fresh believed in. But I had a feeling that the district would want these kids properly utilizing them. He answered back to me, "I only stopped you from using the Chromebooks because the kids were all just playing games." The students interject then. "It's a math game." The head honcho moved to Interjection City. Well, let's see what this math game is all about. I had the kids get their Chromebooks. They all excitedly logged on. I pulled up a surface area and volume game kit, and the kids were feverishly playing the game, using pencils and notebooks to solve the problems needed to be answered to gain ammunition in their game. It was active. It was fun for all. I paused the game when needed to show different ways to isolate the variable when solving surface area problems, especially of spheres and cones, etc. It was what education was supposed to be. Poppin' Fresh ran out of pop, and by the end of the day I received an email from the head honcho himself asking me about him and how things were going. I was honest with him. I told him about his assaults, threats of assaults, and hiding assaults. All things I'm sure would be an interesting part of this tale, but they aren't related to the malicious compliant inherent here. It's also an ongoing investigation, even 2 months later as I'm teaching at a new school on the other side of the proverbial mountain. Poppin' Fresh is under investigation for what he's been doing to me and other new teachers to the school, and it's crawling all the way up the chain. Updates to follow. It's really difficult to utilize technology like this in the classroom for a specific reason. Kids know how to alt-tab to programs that they're not supposed to be using while on their Chromebooks. I understand why and the absolute need to integrate technology, but you also need to have tools that block their access to other programs so that they can focus on the one that they're supposed to be using at the time. Because even if you have a teaching assistant going around and trying to make sure everybody's on task and not doing other things, as somebody who was a teaching assistant in the past, you definitely know that students love to just alt-tab between programs. Or they have some other button that will put the program back up when you come around because they're just swapping screens. So technology like this is a blessing. It really is. If you can get the kids to not want to be on like Facebook or the internet or YouTube watching things in the middle of class. It has to be integrated into your classroom teaching. Otherwise, yes, they do get bored. Unless you're a super control freak and you've got a strong lesson to teach them throughout the entire class, they're going to get bored and they're going to wish they were somewhere else. Our stories for today have come to a close. Until we meet again, have a pleasant day.